That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, which premiered at the 2022 Toronto International Film Festival and is being released for 1 week only, starting November 23rd, 2022, in a limited engagement courtesy of Netflix. And then it will exit theaters and be available to stream on their platform December 23rd, 2022.
The director?
It's the sixth film directed by Rian Johnson.
Do I know any of Ryan's films?
Yeah, well, you didn't see his previous film, which was Knives Out in 2019.
Okay.
Brick was his debut with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, The Brothers Bloom, Looper, which is probably my favorite film, although that got a lot of flack, I remember, for them making Joseph Gordon-Levitt's face look like Bruce Willis's. And then, of course, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, which I know I took you to that screening.
Not to my recollection.
You did, you saw it.
Okay, this movie is a comedic, like, murder mystery.
Mm-hmm. A crime caper. Well, not quite a caper.
Not a caper. Okay.
In the tradition of Agatha Christie, really.
The basic story is Janelle Monáe plays a woman who started, or like a company that's kind of like Tesla. Mm-hmm. So they have like energy, cars, space, outer space stuff, whatever. So space engineering,
They're called Alpha.
But it's called Alpha. And she sort of co-founded this with Ed Norton.
Miles Bron and Andi Brand, or Miles Bron and Andi Brand are their names.
So Ed Norton gets this idea that he wants to harness like hydrogen fuel energy in like these crystals, but it's volatile. And Janelle Monáe's character says, no, I'm not going to agree to this.
Because what it would do would turn people's homes into, as Kathryn Hahn's character says, the Hindenburg. Like you'd blow up.
Well, hydrogen in general is very volatile, mm-hmm. which is why we don't have a lot, hydrogen fuel cells. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I know that it's very dangerous. Anyway, she knows that it's dangerous, like his plan. So she says no and says, I'm going to leave. So she leaves the company, and Ed screws her over by saying that she sues him for like her intellectual property, and everything boils down to like he said, she said, but there's a napkin that he's claiming he wrote the original idea for Alpha on, but really she did. But she can't find her napkin, and he has created a napkin that he presented in court, and he won.
And also all of their mutual friends turned against her in court because he has something on all of them and controls their financial situations.
So these friends, there are 4 of them. So then he has this tradition where every year they take this big lavish vacation. And this year they're doing this weekend trip to Ed Norton's like private Greek island, or private island off of Greece, where he has this like an amazing compound, and the centerpiece of the compound is this structure he's calling the Glass Onion. And we can get into why that's significant. But he brings everyone there to play a game, and it's a murder mystery. Okay. Janelle Monáe, we just have to ruin the movie. Ed Norton...
Spoilers herein, yes.
...killed Janelle Monáe's character because she had found the original napkin and stupidly emailed everyone to tell them.
Aha!
So he goes and kills her ass and takes the napkin. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But there are some witnesses.
Well, Janelle Monáe's character has a twin sister who looks just like her.
Helen.
Which is obviously played by Janelle Monáe. So the sister contacts Daniel Craig. Like, she Googles world's best detective.
And it's not Hercule Poirot, it's Benoit Blanc.
And he agrees to take her case, and he says, this is what we're going to do. Because Ed invites all of the friends using this very elaborate, like, gift box that's, like, all mechanical and it's a puzzle.
Think of what's it called from Hellraiser.
Oh, I was thinking of, like Pan's Labyrinth type. Whatever, it's this complicated box.
Pandora's box?
Daniel Craig says, oh, since your sister got it, why don't you pretend that you're her? We can do a makeover, you can look like her. And then since I know where it's happening, I'll also show up and say, like, well, I also received the box. And he convinces Ed Norton that, yeah, someone probably repurposed one of your old boxes and gave it to me. Anyway, they all get there. And like you alluded to, the four friends, they know that Ed Norton is lying and that he really stole all of this from Janelle Monáe, but they all need something from him. So one of them is
Kathryn Hahn as Claire Debella.
she's a governor, and he has backed her campaign, which is what got her elected. Now she's running for Senate, and he's backing her because he needed her to sign off on his like energy stuff to get his hydrogen thing going. Then there's
Duke Cody, played by Dave Bautista.
who they all
He has a YouTube
well,
channel.
we'll talk about it. He has like a very popular Twitch channel that Ed Norton like promoted. So he owes Ed some stuff. Then the next person is
Oh God, I'm trying to think. Who?
Kate Hudson.
Kate Hudson as Birdie J.
She's like a musician who kind of met Ed Norton before he was famous or
She
rich.
was a faded model / and he's also financed her.
She's in
clothing
some
line.
she's in some trouble because she has like a Fabletics type situation going on that there's some scandal associated with it because of like sweatshops. And the final person is a scientist who works for Ed Norton named
Leslie Odom Jr.
Oh, that's Leslie Odom Jr.?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a scientist who works for Ed Norton who makes all his thoughts reality.
Who previously co-starred with Kate Hudson in Music.
I need to wrap this up. All of these people know each other because Janelle Monáe was friends with all of these people except Ed Norton. So they were all a gang, and they used to hang out at this bar called the Glass Onion. And then one day Janelle Monáe meets Ed Norton and introduces him to her group. And he was kind of like a bullshitter, like all these dreams he had, including he said that his goal in life was to make an impact, and that like whatever impact he has on the world, it will be mentioned in the same like sentence as the Mona Lisa, like whatever that means. And then we get to the compound, and it's like, you know, this billionaire's compound. He actually owns like the real Mona Lisa. He says he got France and the Louvre out of some debt or something, and they let him hold it.
And notably, it's May of 2020, so we're in lockdown because of COVID.
So the murder mystery game is evaporated very quickly because Daniel Craig's character, this game is supposed to take all weekend. Daniel Craig's character figures it out before they even start. So then we find out that, well, I already said that Ed and Janelle are working together. So they're trying to figure out where the authentic napkin is. And then all of a sudden, Dave Bautista's character dies. So who killed him? Then someone tries to shoot and kill Janelle Monáe. So all of that's happening. And obviously, it's Ed Norton who's responsible for everything. He killed Janelle Monáe.
Dave Bautista saw him leaving her house, so he had to. And
Dave Bautista was a witness to Ed Norton leaving Janelle Monáe's house. So
and though he didn't know he murdered her. While they're at the shindig, it pops up on Google. He gets Google alerts that she's been killed in a suicide, and blah blah blah.
So yeah, Ed Norton poisoned Dave Bautista, and then he knows that Janelle Monáe, who shows up, is not Andi, his co-founder. So he is trying to figure out we find out that Ed Norton's character, even though he's a billionaire, he's like a moron. He's
using malapropisms the whole time, yeah.
And he has ridden on everyone else's backs. So he basically pays everyone to do shit for him. So even though he knows Janelle Monáe is on this island, not as Andi, but as, I guess, her sister, he doesn't know what to do with her. And then he gets the idea to kill her based off something Daniel Craig said, like
Off the cuff.
Off the cuff. But it doesn't work because he shoots Janelle Monáe's character and the bullet is blocked by a journal. So in the end,
no damn sense, but yeah.
Janelle Monáe finally gets a hold of the napkin, and there's this big final scene where she's like, "I got the napkin." So you're donezo. And Ed Norton's character walks up to that napkin and lights it on fire. And he's like, "Well, sorry about it."
I didn't see anything. Did anybody else?
So we think that's the end because everyone's like, yeah, I mean, it's too late now. There's no proof. It is what it is, and your sister's dead, which we need to get into, how no one seems to be concerned that this is like...
Well, also that they were her friend first, and they already screwed her over, and then when they learn she's dead...
We need to talk about that. But so then the final is like... Janelle Monáe as the sister is appealing to Daniel Craig, like, do something. And he's like, I can't. There's no evidence. All I was able to provide you with is the truth. But why don't you take this glass of alcohol to get some courage because the sister doesn't really drink. And then he hands her something, which is Ed Norton was showing everyone like some of the crystallized hydrogen, which is very volatile, very dangerous. And Daniel Craig gives it to Janelle Monáe. So then we have this really long extended scene of her character breaking all the stuff in the house. And then she starts a fire, throws the hydrogen in the fire, which causes it to like, the entire house burns down. And then she tells Ed Norton, well, you finally got what you wished for.
And she burns the Mona Lisa.
The Mona Lisa also burns. So she goes, well, your new power source is what's responsible for destroying the Mona Lisa, so you're ruined. The end. Ugh, that was a lot.
That was a lot. It was a lot to sit through because it's actually, I think, a little bit shorter than the original.
The movie's only like 2 hours, 8 minutes, and by the time it was done, I felt like I had sat through like a 3.5 hour movie.
I think it's 2 hours and 19 minutes, but yeah.
Because I think the first like hour is quite funny. The opening scene, I think, is excellent. And then once they get to the island, there's a lot of comedic writing that I think is very effective. I think the highlight of the film, surprisingly, is Kate Hudson.
Yeah, I think Kathryn Hahn is good too, but Kate Hudson, who I usually don't gravitate towards, gets kind of all the best comedic moments.
But then once Janelle Monáe as the sister, or who everyone thinks is Andi, the co-founder, gets shot, then the movie does this weird thing for like an hour.
What would you backup flashback? Mm-hmm.
Where it's like Scooby-Doo, where it's like, oh, we're going to explain everything that happened, and it's all flashbacks. So we're like kind of rewatching like a lot of what we've already watched, but from a different angle, and it is long.
It's long, and then there are moments where it's like that didn't play like that. He's so clearly manipulating the audience that it's like I felt like Kathy Bates in Misery, where she's like, he didn't get out of the cockadoodie car, and that's what it feels like in some of these moments. Like that's not how it looked.
I think there's a lot of very good comedic writing, but I think the writing of the mystery part of it was very like elementary. Well,
it feels like a lot of classic Agatha Christie. Like this is a step up from Death on the Nile to me.
I'm just gonna go through my notes. So the opening is amazing because we see all the friends receive their box, and they're all in their own little environments. So like Kate Hudson's like in this lavish, decadent party in the height of COVID, and no one's wearing a mask. Dave Bautista's his character is supposed to be like this misogynist pig who makes like these
men's rights videos.
Yeah. So we see him recording one
with his girlfriend named Whiskey.
Then the scientist is just in his office, and then the governor gets it after she's done a press conference. So they're all on like a group call trying to figure out how to open this box, and it's an elaborate puzzle. And I think Kate Hudson provides a lot of the laughs, but Dave Bautista's mom,
played by the great Jackie Hoffman.
Oh, she's so funny because she is the one solving the puzzle, kind of like in the periphery. I thought that first like 15 minutes was so well written and so much fun to watch. And then when we get to Greece and they're all getting on the boat, Ethan Hawke
shows up for a minute.
He has a cameo where he's sort of assisting Ed Norton to get everyone on the boat, and it's COVID and everyone's wearing a mask. Kate Hudson's, well, of course Dave Bautista's not wearing a mask, and then Kate Hudson's character is wearing a mask, but it's like mesh, so it's not providing any blockage. Yeah. But then Ethan Hawke shows up and he tells everyone like, before you can get on the boat to go to the island, I have to give you like an injection in your mouth. And he has this like air gun that shoots something in their mouth that makes them feel kind of like, ugh.
It's pretty violent.
It's pretty violent, and it's funny because the only person that kind of questioned it is Daniel Craig, and
he's like, just open your mouth.
And Ethan Hawke's like, you're good.
Yeah.
And he's like, but does this mean we're okay not to get COVID? And he keeps saying, you're good. I thought that was funny. I thought another funny scene is the four friends are all working together to open the box, and then it's done. And then all of a sudden we get Janelle Monáe. And she's like in like a garage somewhere.
In her bathroom.
Looking crazy. And she doesn't even try to figure out how to open the box. She just takes the hammer and like I thought that was cute.
Yeah, there are lots of like cute moments. It just doesn't ever kind of maintain that level of comedy. It just, there's a lot of dead space.
There is. Okay, I know it's like a choice that Daniel Craig is doing this accent that's not good. No. But it's so bad that it's funny, but then it goes on, like it gets like it gets old.
It gets old, and I don't know.
He's cute.
He's cute, but he's like 2 steps removed from somebody like Wendell Corey.
I thought his accent it just is like, whoa. And then Janelle Monáe as the sister, she's supposed to be like this Alabama school teacher. And when we first meet her, she's presenting like she's kind of country and she has an accent like she's from the South. And then as time goes on, we lose that accent.
Sure.
As herself. Because when she's portraying her sister, she says that they used to do this accent when they were kids called Rich Bitch. Mm-hmm. And that's the accent that her successful sister adopted. So I understand when Janelle's playing like the sister, that the accent's weird. But then when she's being the actual sister, I thought that accent was not consistent. So I found that distracting. And have I seen Janelle Monáe? What? Antebellum. I did not care for her in this movie. And I think partially it's the character because she's supposed to be pretending to be her sister who's like this uptight, like, businesswoman. But it just, for the first half of the movie, you just see her lurking around and that shit got old.
She does have good side eye, but Johnson's screenplay completely straitjackets her into this kind of nothing of a role because this is something, even though it's a comedy, there needs to have been some anguish there. Like her twin sister was murdered or why were you so estranged from your twin sister who, as Andi, didn't really even tell her friends that she had a twin. Like there was character development that I think could have been easily unpacked or discussed, and it would have given her room to because the point where Ed Norton is berating her on the stairs after the burning of the Mona Lisa and talking to her down to her about her bitch tantrum, it's like, you killed my goddamn sister. And
that really bothered me, the ending, when it's like no one is trying to reconcile the fact that her sister and their friend was murdered by this man right here, and it's just like.
And the sister just calls them all shitheads, but it's like, I feel like a woman like that would have done, I don't know, called out the Leslie Odom Jr. character for like even
that's what I wanted.
He sold me out.
That's what I wanted. I wanted her to go off on everybody. Like all of y'all are responsible for the downfall of my sister and her murder, and so everyone's getting read their rights today, and there will be violence. And she just was so like. She just seemed frustrated.
Yes.
She felt frustrated in the way like when you're in line at the grocery store and
you don't want to get kicked out.
And then a new register opens and you're the next person in line, but then the person behind you goes. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how frustrated it felt. Like, okay.
And if you were Kathleen Turner and Serial Mom, you'd go stab her tires. But
so I thought another funny scene is the murder mystery part. They're all having dinner the first night they're at this compound, and Ed Norton's explaining, what's going to happen over the course of the weekend and, what to expect and the rules of engagement and all that. And Daniel Craig's like, well, I mean, can we start now? And Ed's like, yeah. And he goes, oh, okay, well, Kate Hudson did it using this bow and arrow because you stole her diamond. And he's right. And then he spends the next 5 minutes explaining the mystery. And I thought it was funny because I thought that was well written, but also Ed Norton being so disappointed that his weekend, that he paid some famous writer to come up with.
Yeah. Gillian Flynn.
Yeah.
Who wrote Gone Girl.
I thought that was
there were funny name drops. The Jared Leto.
Jared Leto makes hard kombucha.
Jeremy Renner makes hot sauce,
which are integral to the plot.
And then Hugh Grant.
Oh, and then Hugh Grant plays Daniel Craig's lover,
which is an interesting scene because when Daniel Craig first gets the box from Janelle Monáe as the sister, he's playing
in the bathtub.
I know he's in the bathtub and playing an online game with.
Oh, that's right.
Angela Lansbury, Stephen Sondheim, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Natasha Lyonne, 2 of whom are now dead.
Yeah, there's some really cool cameos.
And Angela Lansbury, her name on Zoom is Angie.
I thought when we do the flashback to 10 years prior when they all met at the glass.
Oh, Ed Norton's hair is out.
They all look crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, then if we're talking about hair, Janelle Monáe's hair.
As Andi,
as the sister, and the flashback. All those wigs look terrible. Hard hairline.
But it's most egregious as...
Oh, as Andi. It's like this... Ugh.
Well, it's just
really... unflattering.
For a woman that is that put together and
Has that kind of money.
and that kind of swagger.
That hair would be laid. It wouldn't
Yeah,
look
it
like
wouldn't look
a
like
cheap,
that.
like synthetic wig. That bothered me so much. But even as the sister, the wig looked bad. And in the flashback, it just all looked so bad.
Well, Ed Norton's hair in those flashbacks.
But at least his is kind of funny.
Sure.
So Janelle, the sister, doesn't drink. Like, she doesn't consume alcohol. So there's a gag where, like, we're told that Jared Leto makes hard kombucha, but this Janelle doesn't know that. So she's just drinking it like a mad person, and then she becomes drunk. I thought that was kind of ridiculous.
It's silly.
Then we're told about the Jeremy Renner hot sauce at one point, and then that's used at the end because when Janelle gets shot, we assume she's dead because it happens halfway through the movie. But then with this damn 45-minute flashback, we realize that the book, the journal, blocked the bullet. But then Daniel Craig, being quick on his feet, says, we have to make sure you, like, let's pretend you're really dead so that everyone leaves, and then I'll distract them while you go search for something. So then they use the hot sauce to look like blood.
Which he puts in his eyes to cry for tears. You would not recover quickly.
Yeah, that was silly.
And then a drip of it falls in her nose while she's pretending to be dead, which...
Something that bothered me is that and I had the same problem with the movie we just reviewed called Poker Face.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which, well, this video is probably not going to drop for another week and a half, but we reviewed a film called Poker Face about a tech billionaire, and now here's another movie with a tech billionaire, and both movies have the same problem, where their house is not outfitted with the kind of surveillance and technology I would imagine.
The technology would be up the wazoo, especially considering this man would also be paranoid because he murdered somebody.
But there is a lot of technology because all of the guests are wearing these like wristbands that have like a lot of technology, and then we even see a scene where like a robot like dog is carrying all the luggage. So there is technology, but then it's like Daniel Craig and Janelle Monáe are just running around this house talking at full volume about their plans.
Using her real name.
Using her real name.
When he tries to light a cigar and there are alarms that go off about that, but yet these two are playing Nancy Drew or in the Hardy Boys.
And Edward doesn't know
and
that.
There's no cameras surveilling them.
But I brought this up because there is a funny scene where they're in the gym sort of talking about like the murder and this,
yeah.
And then, you know those like mirrors that do like the personal fitness workout? Mm-hmm. We see like Serena Williams on it. And then all of a sudden she's like it's live. Like it's a live stream that Ed Norton pays her every day to just sit there and do workouts. And she's like, do y'all want to work out? Because I'm getting paid. And they're like, no. I thought that was a fun cameo.
Sure.
Another funny thing, a funny moment is part of the blackmail for Kate Hudson's character is the sweatshop in Bangladesh. Mm-hmm. And we find out that because her assistant keeps telling her, you can't admit to this, he's tricking you. And Kate Hudson's like, he's not. I really did agree to the sweatshop. And then she shows the proof. And then we hear the email being read out loud. And it's funny because Kate's character thought that a sweatshop was a place where sweats are made, which is what she sells. That scene I thought was very funny. Again,
I was so surprised that Kate Hudson kind of is the most entertaining, consistently entertaining. I think Kathryn Hahn has her moments, but a lot of these characters... Edward Norton, I think, is real one note.
I like him, but he's, yeah...
There needed to be some kind of zaniness or overzealousness.
I wanted him to be super eccentric.
Yeah, like Howard Hughes almost.
Because the decor of his home is like... It couldn't be more gaudy and tacky. Mm-hmm. But then his personality is like, he's just wearing like a regular t-shirt with linen pants and his hair's normal. So yeah, that was interesting.
And and I don't know, just all of this ragtag group of people that really can't in actuality stand each other. And I don't really see how they ever did 10 years prior, but
that's another great point is I don't see how these people were even friends before all the bullshit.
Like they were just hanging out at this bar or, okay.
Well, especially because the governor, she seems super like progressive, and then you have Dave Bautista's character who's like a total meathead, who's all he does is carry guns and shoot them.
And presumably none of these people are sleeping together, so I don't know.
Anyway, what else do you want to say?
That's it.
What would you give this film?
There will be a third one, of course.
Great.
With Rian Johnson's Netflix deal. 2.5.
I think it was okay. I would give it 2.5 out of 5. I think it's a great movie to watch on an airplane.
A lot of those.
Hit the thanks button. Listen to our podcast. Bye.